When I started out in triathlon and racing, I was nothing special in terms of talent. I had no high VO2 max and no junior elite racing background. If you had lab tested me then, they would have just sent me away and said, carry on having fun. Do you know what I mean? Nothing stood out, certainly no talent. I qualified and raced 3 times in Kona. I've helped numerous people get there, and believe me, most of them didn't have any talent. They just kept showing up. That's exactly the process I did. I just kept showing up year upon year. If you've ever dreamt and thought you maybe couldn't ever even think about getting to Kona, this video is for you. I made this just for you. No hacks. Here's the blueprint, the step-by-step. You need a strategy. It's time, dedication, and mindful practice. You don't need necessarily all this history of high talent. Some of you might be shaking your head and disagreeing. That's also fine. I suppose it does help having a background in one of the 3 disciplines, of course. But if you're dreaming about it and you really want to try and execute and give it a shot and never look back and go, what if? You might be mid-30s, mid-40s watching this, you have some extra time, disposable income to invest in the process, because it is an investment. It's not just a 1-year, 2-year journey. This is for you. I've made this for you. I've put in my thoughts, expertise, my years of experience into one video, and someone out there watching this will hopefully resonate with it and get some great value. And here we go. I've just jumped off the bike when I've seen you outside there, still in my bike kit, and I wanted to go while I was still on the right train of thought for you. Kona. If your big goal and your big dream doesn't scare you guys and girls, then it's not going to change you. You need something that's big and hairy and audacious. You've heard that term certainly in your business world or potentially in anything performance related, whether it's work, life, family. You've got to have some sort of big dream goal. Remember, failing is actually part of the process. So we almost want to set you up to fail, because then you grow. No one can take that away from you. Certainly the journey I went on, not in the first few years, I didn't really know about Kona, but this big dream goal will set you up and actually really focus you. And that's what a couple of the guys are doing with me right now. They know it's going to be 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, but just that process, it's failing each time is not a problem. You're actually building every time you layer upon layer. So year upon year, it could be, your first changes will come in the initial 6 months, definitely. And then the building blocks, you'll be a different athlete in 2 years. So it's part of the process is failing. That's my biggest first topic I wanted to talk about. I know you may be expecting all the key sessions and what to do and how many hours a week. This is slightly different. This is to make you think, really get inside you. If this is you, then this video is for you. Otherwise, I would click off and watch some of my others. Another key area is upgrading your circle. What do I mean by that? Okay, this has to be reassessed all the time. What does I mean by that? You're a product of your environment. Same goes at home. You're a product of the people you spend the most time with, the 5 to 7 people you spend the most time with. Energy vampires, people at work that just bring you down, you will become them. So I like to make sure that every 6 to 12 months you reassess. Okay, now that could be training partners. You outgrow them. Guys that used to beat you up the hills, that are in and out, training quite hard on a Saturday, smash you up the hills, but they don't have the consistency in the week, which then you slowly overtake them with time. You wanted to do it slowly. So it's partners. Same with coaching. Sometimes we just outgrow our coach, okay? It's hard to say as a coach, but I've certainly had a few coaches in my time, and you outgrow because you evolve. And you might have heard me say this before in some of my previous videos, or you've just stumbled upon this. Your training environment is key. There's a couple of key coaches that I follow, and they run squads. I don't run professional squads, but they set this up to make the environment productive. It's a bit like Google as well, those big corporates. As soon as you're in your environment that promotes positivity and productivity, same in your workplace, you do it every day. You're watching this video because you're probably a driven individual anyway, or you're dreaming big, and that's what I love. That's what we love at Tritanium Coaching. You shouldn't be pushed to the side thinking it's elitist or you need huge talent to go to Kona. If chasing Kona is not fun, yes, training needs to be fun. You'll burn out. I've been there. Not necessarily burnt out, but just got wrapped up in the hours. We're going back 2012, 13, 2014, probably around 2015, not in my last 5 to 7 years. I changed the amount I did, certainly changed a few things around coaching, learned more about physiology, fat adaptation, carbohydrates. So you've got to focus on, you hear the greats talk about this, the process I promise you, endurance just layers upon layer. And once you do those layers, the outcome just takes care of itself. I mean, I've been there. As I said in the beginning, I'm not this amazing athlete. I certainly don't have great physiology. I've managed to just love it and endure year upon year. And I see that with the guys that have been with me for a few years, or they've come in and 18 months later, they qualify. Some people stand out. They just choose the right race. They not get lucky. They just execute really well. Okay. So you've got to enjoy the gear. You've got to understand the quiet, lonely swims. You know, doing 3.5 kilometers on your own in a pool in midwinter in the Northern Hemisphere is pretty dull. But as long as you keep that spark alive, you will ideally not burn out. And it goes back to the previous point around training partners. More recently, have I realized just doing it more for fun and myself and not competing right now as we stand in summer 2025, that choosing the right banter, the right group, the right people to go for a swim, it's actually worth more than just the 50s, the times you hit, you know, the laugh in the sauna afterwards. It's just so great. I suppose that's having quiet confidence. And coming from, if you're currently in like a club environment, you'll get that social element, but you'll only get so far with that group one size fits all approach. So you need to get your head around this. Just read today actually on a post on social media, the great Kate Ledecky, US swimmer. She was just lecturing or doing a talk at Stanford University, the big pre-Olympian like feeder to the Olympics for the USA, and she was actually going on about like embrace the process. It's not fluffy. It's actually quite 80% of the time you know it's split. Well, actually it's split into threes. 30% of the time you really enjoy the workouts. 30% of the workouts you pretty much fail, and then the other 30% you really enjoy. So that's quite hard at the top to think that you're not going to enjoy all the sessions, but that's what performance looks like. Now you might be watching this and going, well, performance is not my goal. I just really want to complete my first 70.3, my first Ironman. But naturally you will want to start looking, if you're a little bit driven in your personality, what's the process looking like? You know, you look at times, you look at qualifying times, and age group is just getting quicker and more rapid. I've mentioned that on a couple of my previous videos. You have to get super smart. I'll touch on it in a little bit in the next point, what that might look like, but just think about that for a second. The 30-30-30, that's, if someone explained that to me a few years ago, I would have had a deep think about, okay, I'm not doing too badly. You've got to respect the repetition. Nothing beats repetition, okay? You know, it might take you 2, 3, or even 5 years, yes. So I mentioned not about talent, but if you layer upon layer that consistency, looking at averages, certainly I know I was sort of 10, 12 hours most of the year round, but then for an Ironman build, maybe around 15 to 20, but not every week. But if you average it out, it's only about 10 hours a week. You maintain that, but year upon year, you actually get pretty good. And of course, following structure, periodize, intensity, and so forth. But it's that key repetition, which you've heard all of us say this, and it really does ring true once you do it, because it actually doesn't matter too much if you don't hit the times each week. You just keep turning up. The first 20 minutes often are quite sluggish, but if you hit that consistency, that's going to take you there. If that sounds too long, again, this video is not for you. Look, this is really specific. You've got to build a body that's unbreakable. If that you're interested in that, welcome aboard. I mean, what a journey. No one can take that away from you. I was only listening to a top physician, Peter Attia. You would have come across him online. If not, go read some of his stuff and listen to him on podcasts. He's so well, explains things so well. His key metrics for longevity, now proven. He's done the whole full circle on GP medical stuff in the US, and now is promoting, you know, what's the most important thing for humans for defining all-cause mortality, as in trying to defy it and beat cardiovascular disease, diabetes, dementia, VO2 max, and strength. Now, what does triathlon do? Well, 2 to 3 years of that, I've just put you in the top percentage of the world with deaths around all-cause mortality. I mean, that's backed by probably one of the world's leading physicians. So I think we're on a good thing here. I think triathlon's a great vehicle. Again, you're interested, keep listening. This is making me excited. The next point, I really think you have to practice this, and it's just a verbal cue. You actually have to say it out loud. As soon as you verbalize to your partner, your best friend, someone quite close to you that sometimes potentially can judge you without you feeling offended, I want to qualify for the world champs. Saying that out loud, I'm doing my first Ironman this year. In the next few years, I want to qualify for the world champs. You've outwardly projected that, which means it becomes a tangible thing. If you're just thinking in your head and in sessions and keeping within you. So I think someone you respect, someone you train with, if you say something like that out loud and write it down, the power that gives you is huge. In summary, it's quite a short little video today. Thanks for listening this far. I don't think qualifying for Kona is with talent. I think it's possible without. I think showing up every day is one of the most powerful things you can do. So if you're willing to think big, smart, strategic, and you want to be consistent, we can help build that roadmap, because that's what it is. We might not get it right straight away. Of course, human body is complex. If I could just give you a template or a training plan, you'd buy that. You'd spend $500 and go. There's all sorts to it. We need to open up areas testing holistic training. What does that even mean? Family. Overlooked. The amount of Ironman divorces I've heard about. We get obsessed. It's because of the volume and the tiredness, okay? Let's design a plan that takes in consideration your life, your dream, where you are right now, and how much that means to you. If you're interested, click on the link below. You can email me or book a call for a chat, and let's action this. Thanks for listening.